Hello all, and welcome in here to round 6 on the calendar. We're here in Tier 2 for the mid-season finale before we have a 2-week break, and I'm WHFL alongside Rio Harris.
Hello.
And welcome in everyone into the stream. We're here for the halfway point of the season. And interested to see, can Kevin keep his dominant form going this season? Or will finally the rest of the grid start to catch up to him? But Rio, do you have any predictions for this race this evening?
Well, I don't really want to predict. I've cursed everyone the last two races. But as I've got a Ferrari shirt on, I'll say Ty Clear wins.
Yeah, we're really rooting for Ty here. Ty has been so unlucky so far this season, I think. Hopefully he can finally get that win that has been allowed him. He hasn't even got a podium this season. So he's been very, very unlucky this season so far.
Who do you think will win?
It is interesting. There is a lot of quick drivers here. I gotta bet on Ty, because Ty has deserved it for so long. But I probably say it's more likely that Kevin or Michael will win. Currently, the only drivers to win this season is Michael and Kevin. Kevin with 3 wins, Michael with 2. You'd like to see a couple more drivers grab a victory here, but we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Christian, we're on a lap with the Ferrari reserved for today. He'll be the first driver to settle a lap. And he's losing the rear through the S's. Very difficult section here in COTA. But he has navigated his way out of turn 10. But if we have anything like Canada last time out, it'll be very entertaining. Also, welcome into the chat, Scones. Welcome in everyone else who's watching along. And we're hoping for Scones to make it out of lap 1. Because last time, Scones was unfortunately caught up in an incident, which meant 3 cars were out on lap 1. So hopefully we can avoid that carnage again. But FaZe Christian will be the first driver to set a lap now in the Ferrari. And I haven't actually done COTA yet on this game, I don't think. Do you know what a good time is for COTA?
For me, in around the 130, 131s, like low 131s, which is mine. Around, so yeah, maybe like below 30, low or high 31s for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun track. Don't get me wrong. Like racing here is fun. So as you saw with the Ferrari, he hasn't got a stable setup because it's that you can take this whole Essence flat up until the first corner of sector 2. It's flat.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of drivers are chucking in their times at the moment. Currently, Christian with a 33.0 is the quickest time. We see Michael Lowy move up to first as Dobo skates around the final corner. And Dobo goes second with a 32.9. But I'm thinking as we progress, I think we should see probably lower 32s. And we get that immediately with Kevin with a 32.3. Brilliant lap time from the Alpine driver. Immediately into the low 32s. There's Womax with a 32.2. Brilliant lap time from the Aston driver. And hopefully he can finally get a good result this season as well.
Here comes WZ up to the line. In the McLaren goes P9 with a 33.5. Definitely not a competitive time. And you've got the Haas of Krikri who is about to start his next lap time. And then you have the two Aston. You have the Aston in on a in lap, which I can only guess. As F1 Lime is in sector 3, round the long sweeping right towards the corner where you flick your wheel left. Don't do what George Russell did in qualifying in 24. Towards the final corner, very easy turn in a bit early and then Validate in the final corner, but powering up to the line, it's going to be a 34.0. Definitely not a competitive time at all.
Well, Dubsy, I'm surprised he set a lap time at all in qualifying, because normally he just avoids qualifying altogether and tries to do the driver of the day competition every race. So the fact we've got Dub to set a lap shows that he's approaching this race with a different mentality. But next we do have the Cyber of the lanky one, I believe, going up to P8, followed by Forward Journey, who had a very good finish in Bahrain in the season opener, finished P2, but really hasn't got things going for him since then. Hopefully he can finally get a good result. Meanwhile, Scollins has done an extra outlap. He's going to go again. He invalidated on his first run round. So now is an opportunity for Scollins to go again. But we still have a couple... Go ahead, Rio.
So I was gonna ask, are you allowed to purposely drive slow into the pit lane and like slow someone else down?
Are you allowed to do what?
Just drive slowly into the pit lane and purposely block someone entering the pits.
Well, it can be illegal depending on the situation, but
I just watched the VCOP do it.
if it's just in qualifying, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But if you like block the pit lane and you cause another driver to be disqualified, which we know could happen in this game, then we would definitely review it.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's watch Scone, shall we? Entering sector 3 on his latest qualifying lap. Towards the double left, where you've seen the likes of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc battle Leclerc almost rear-ended Norris in the final lap of the sprint race in real life last year. Round the long sweeping right towards the corner, which if you get it right, it's a very satisfying. Flick the wheel left. A lot more speed can be carried through there if done correctly. Towards the final corner was the Williams driver. Can the Scones go anywhere in the top 10? No, he can't. It's only going to be P13 with a 34.132. And then I think next up we'll be watching is the Haas driver of Krikri, who has a massive slide out of the long left. And he's got two McLarens right on his gearbox. Maybe it's slightly in the way of Godzilla.
He might be, but Krikri is on a lap, so Godzilla can't really complain too much about this. It is kind of blocking his final sector though. But Godzilla does move up to P4, but I'm sure he could have got a better lap if he didn't have the Haas in the way. But even in the chat blanking one as well. Ty only up to P14. And considering that Ty has a couple pole positions this season, we're expecting better from the Ferrari driver. Also, while Rio was talking, we've seen Michael improve his lap by a 10th. But he's still not close enough to Kevin or WoMX, who seem to be gapping the field at the moment. As we have Arn in the Haas next around. But a very competitive field here. And where can the Haas go? As he rounds the final corner, the Mexican driver will jump to P8. Good lap there from the Haas. It's a 33-1. But a good lap so far from Christian, who on his debut currently sits P7. He's already over a 10th up out of Sector 1 as he tries his next run around. And it could be an ideal debut here for Christian. Wonder where WoMX is on his lap. He's just started. He's a 10th down as well, so probably won't be improving massively. Meanwhile, Christian, though, out of Sector 2 has got 6/10. Monster improvement at City, a purple middle sector, which he may have. Can Christian keep this momentum going through the final sector? And could Christian challenge for pole here? So he's a bit of a skate on the rear through the penultimate corner. Needs to keep it tidy. out of the final corner, and Christian up to the line, goes to P3, just 3 thousandths behind Kevin. Brilliant lap time there from the Ferrari driver. Meanwhile, Kevin is on a lap. He's got a V-carb that potentially might be giving him a tow here. But I think that might be just vintage control on a lap, unless it is Stephen Beecham. I think it was vintage control.
Just for knowledge, when Max was on the lap, he was, I think, just marginally up, but he decided to come into the pit lane to abort that final lap. There is a salvo around the final corners, that forward journey starting his lap, but all eyes on the man who has practically been dominating this season, except that of other races where Michael Louise has won. Around the final corner we go as our championship leader up to the line. It's going to be a 1:32.126, 0.14 ahead of William X in the Aston Martin. Kriki around the final corner, still out there on the mediums. Has got 1.2 laps left of fuel. Here comes Sci-Fi in the Silver Arrow, who is on another preparation lap. I can only guess. Yellow flags behind for FaZe Christian, who has run out of fuel. There's the Red Bull of Newtomatic, who's also invalidated. Then they've got the WT Addiction round the long left towards the sweeping right-hander. Seems to be on maybe a bit of a slower lap, if I had to guess. The timing seems a bit more competitive. Towards the final corner we go with Addiction. This might actually be a proper lap time, I'm not actually too sure. Up to the line we go with the Alpine. It does improve by 3.5 tenths up to P5. Next up is, I want to say, Aaron in the Haas, who's opted to come into the pit lane. Then we have Dobo in the Red Bull, who is invalidated. And then Steven in the V-car coming to the penultimate corner of the racetrack in Texas. Keep it nicely valid. He's opted to come into the pit lane as well. Forward Journey has invalidated. He's opted to come into the pit lane as well. I think that's Kevin, who the other Alpine in Sector 3, who's opted coming into the pits as well. And Vintage Control on another lap on the mediums. I think he's just doing some extra practice, is he?
Yeah, I think the same with Creed that Vintage Control and Creed just doing some extra practice on their laps. I think they both kind of like to do that during qualifying. I think you would see Dub Z try and do that a lot, as well as practice during qualifying just to get a couple extra laps in. But Sci-Fi, I do believe, is on a lap. He will be improving on that time. It currently has him sitting P20. Where can he jump to as he crosses the line? Just improves on one position ahead of Vintage Control. We'll see, is anyone else on a lap?
Cthulhu's just started, I believe, in the Aston Martin, entering Sector 1.
Yeah, we'll go on board with the Aston, as there's only around 4 minutes or so remaining left of the session. As Cthulhu has a little bit of a snap mid-corner, but he's still keeping the momentum going forward.
That was a mega improvement, half a second in the first sector alone.
Yeah. Welcome into the TikTok chat. This is WHF, aka We Have Fun F1. And the link to our Discord is in our bio if you do want to join. We're currently here on round 6, tier 2 of this 12-round calendar. But welcome into the stream as Cthulhu down in P12, currently on a lap.
He's currently on to be challenging for... Oh, he's definitely going to be P4 at minimum at the minute with this lap. Entering Sector 3. Round the long right. And towards the penultimate corner we go with Cthulhu. He's just got a Ferrari just in front of him. Could be getting some dirty air, affecting his car in the corners a little bit. But around the final corner and up to the line we go with Cthulhu. Is it provisional pole for the Aston Martin? No, it's not. It's a 32.533. But the Aston Martin's running currently second and fourth right now, so I think they'd be a bit happy with that. As his teammate, William X, has started his final lap of qualifying, gunning for pole position.
Yeah, great lap there from Cthulhu. Meanwhile, Ty Clear jumps up to P8, but I think that maybe Ty's final run unless he's gotten enough fuel to recharge for another lap. We've also got Scones out there on a final run as well. As exiting Sector 1 was Womax and Christian. Christian's bailed out of that lap, so Womax currently seems to be on his final run as he overtakes the Ferrari. But Scones will be the next driver up to the line who's actually completing a lap. And we'll see, can Scones improve on P17? After we see Scones, we'll move down to Womax to see how he's getting on in his lap. Womax, a 10th off pole as it stands. We'll see, can he get it here?
Womax half a second up in entering Sector 3, so this is a monstrous lap from the Aston.
An absolute monster lap from Womax. Could he get pole here? Womax has been unable to get a pole this season and unable to get a really decent result this season. Could this finally be the turnaround here right before the mid-season break as Womax rounds the final corner? It's a 21.6. Absolutely blows the rest out of the field out of the water with that lap time. Mega lap there from Womax. Give yourself a pat on the back there. Absolutely brilliant lap time there. Meanwhile, Nudimatic is involved. He'll go for another run. Cthulhu's into the box. We've got Dobo starting a lap next. Behind him is, I believe, Stephen Beecham starting a lap. We've got Forward Journey in behind. Well, that'll be the lanky one starting a lap. A lot of drivers out there at the moment, so hard to keep on track with who's doing what. We've got Arn in the Haas. Next round, he'll be setting his final lap here in qualifying. And as he comes up to the line, Arn now jumps to P9. Good improvement there from the Haas driver. As Dubsy starts his final run, we've got Forward Journey, who has enough battery to go for another run, which he will be doing. Meanwhile, I think that's Dobo. Now I'm confused what car that is. I think it's a V-Carb. The V-Carb in the Red Bulls looks very similar. As the checkered flag has fallen now, so this will be everyone's final run. Creekry's involved. He will not be improving. Scones is involved. He'll not be improving. Ty Clear's in the box, so it will be Christian around next. Christian's involved. He'll not be improving. We have the Mercedes next of F1 Lime. He's a 10th to the good. Keeps it valid. Trucking it round the penultimate corner. As F1 Lime comes up to the line, where can he go? P14 goes Lime. Next is Nudimatic, I believe. As he's invalid, was a 10th up. Next it's Dobo, who's 2 tenths to the good in P11. Dobo has a big snap out of the final corner though. Dobo does jump up to P5. Good improvement there as Michael Louis jumps up to P2. Mega lap there from Michael to get into the 31s. Next it's Kevin around the final corner. Where can Kevin go? Currently leading the championship, crosses the line, and it's a 31.7. Brilliant lap time there from Kevin. And he's a 10th off pole, but Womax with an absolutely mega lap time here. Next, it's Forward Journey, who's 3 tenths to the good. Where can Forward Journey go as he rounds the final corner, crosses the line? Forward Journey all the way up to P7. Big improvement, over half a second from the Sauber. As Vintage Control will be the last driver to cross the line, and he is invalid, so will not improve his time. But Womax, absolutely brilliant lap time there from the Aston. And someone in the chat says identical times. Lime says identical times. Oh, it's Line and Scones, or Lime and Scones both have identical times, which is quite hilarious. Also, thank you for the follow on the TikTok chat. I unfortunately do not speak whatever language your alphabet is from, so I don't know how to pronounce your name.
I think we've jinxed Ty Clear.
Yeah, Ty Clear, who we were both rooting for, will now start in P12 after having his second big opportunity last time out in Canada to win. Basically thrown in the bin from drivers around him, even though he tried his best, but got involved in carnage that he could not avoid. But what a lap time it was from Womack, hoping he can finally get a good result this season and build on it. A 10th clear at the top of the pack.
A USA 1-2 in Texas.
Yeah, it's their home track. There's where the advantage comes. That's why Ty Clear was struggling, because it's not his home, not his home track.
Then it's the Brits.
Yeah, 4 Brits.
Jesus Christ.
Then it's an Italian. Then it's a man from Malta. Then it's a Brit, Frenchman, US, UK, Mexico, South Africa, English, Canadian, English, Mexican, South African, and Japanese driver to round out the field. We have a very multicultural grid here. Hopefully no one readies up early. I've pinged everyone to not ready up early. Hopefully they do not. We will see. But anyway, predictions in the chat. Who Rio in the chat says, let Rio do lights out. Hello, LOLO says Nuto. But, you know, as the lead commentator, you do lights out. That's just kind of how it works, unfortunately. So you're gonna have to sit back in your chair for a bit. That's just how it works. But anyway,
I challenge you to a duel.
Rio has put a prediction in the chat of a Ferrari 1-2, and it's not completely out of the cards, but Ty starting down in P12 with Christian starting P6, it could be difficult to do, although the pace in this field is very, very tight. I couldn't really give you a guarantee who I think is going to win, but I would definitely put, if you were to spread your money out in some bets, I would put a lot of your money on Kevin and Michael Louis. They are the 2 drivers who have won this season and could look to win again.
Can't count the Aston out. He's got pole.
Yeah, and Womack, who has got pole, hopefully can finally do away with his bad luck that he's encountered this season and finally get a good result here. We will be waiting to see it. As Nudo says, I'm guessing Michael P1, Cod P2, Lanky P3. And that is quite of a guess, because I think Cod and the Lanky one, I don't know where they've qualified, to be honest. So
Godzilla's 4th and Lanky 1's 5th. So it's very possible.
Very, very possible. I only got to see really a couple of the laps. I missed a lot of the drivers there, so a lot of the drivers I'm not even sure where they're qualifying at the start here.
Right, you know what? Let's do a hype train. P1 Ty, P2 Scones, P3 Michael. There you go, Marsh. What a podium.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we just get less carnage that we've seen in Canada.
Watch it. Bet you we're going to jinx Ty and he's going to be spun round and last at the back of the field by turn 1.
Well, as Ty is starting P12, he's unlikely to win, but I just hope he just is involved in less carnage this race. That'd be ideal. But Mike in the chat says, I'm doomed. Someone has read up early, according to Lime. If anyone can get a clip in the chat, let us know. Hopefully everyone's ready to go. We'll have a restart if anyone is stopped on the grid. Hopefully everyone is back from their toilet breaks or whatever and have picked their strategies, as we're going to have the 5 red lights on now. And they're out here in Kota for 28 laps around the Texan circuit. As we go into turn 1, Womack gets a brilliant start, leading everyone into turn 1. Brilliant start. There's a 3 wide behind with Christian involved. Cars off in the background. There's 2 Haas's spun off in the back. And Ty's involved. Dobo's out. There's a safety car on lap 1. And Dobo out at turn 1. And I am blaming Rio for the whole thing. Because he says, imagine Ty immediately spins. And Ty is immediately involved in a carnage. at turn 1. And there's an immediate safety car. An immediate safety car. A couple laps in a row. Or 2 races in a row. And Dobo, unfortunately, out already. And I don't think Dobo's happy about that. But Nuto in the chat says you just had to say something, and yeah, I blame Rio for the incident. He did say, imagine Ty gets caught up in something, and what do you know? Lap 1, immediately Ty gets taken out. But in that carnage, both Haas's spun around as well. Here on lap 1. But I guess this does give us an opportunity to look at the tyres. Everyone inside the top 10 on the mediums. Dubsy's gone for the softs, along with Sci-Fi and Cree. I'm here to tell you that's the wrong choice around Kota. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham is the only hard runner here today, so keep an eye out for Stephen doing the reverse strategy.
There's a lot of damage. Scones has got damage.
Oh,
Vintage has got damage.
Well, we'll go through the full grid to see who has damage. I think a lot of the top escaped damage, but it was more the bottom 10 got caught up in damage. Scones is in to fix a front wing. I think Sci-Fi has got damage. Sci-Fi, if you're in the chat listening, box for any tyre other than what you're on and fix your front wing. Your race will go 100 times better. Vintage Control, Scalds and Ty Clear all fixing their front wings. Scalds is on the hards, Vintage Control and Ty on the mediums. Although Vintage Control now switching to the hards. I think Vintage Control also had a 10-second time penalty as that safety car came out. Dobo said crashed because of a glitch. What glitch was that, Dobo? I am confused.
Mate, on the race director, there's a lot of warnings. Nutomatic collision with Aaron. Scones warning collision with Sci-Fi. Dobo terminal damage. Sci-Fi collision with Scones. Forward Journey collision with Dobo. So I think it might have been Forward Journey and Dobo that did get connected together. And then Vintage Control has got a track limit warning and got a 10-second for a severe collision with F1 Lime.
Yeah, well, early carnage here in Kota. We were hoping to avoid it, but unable to. But this has mixed up the field a little bit. If you're listening to the stream and you're driving and you're on the softs, please get off the softs.
Can I just say, Nutomatic up 8 places.
Oh, Nuto.
Already.
We know Nuto's in the Red Bull, but it's not the realistic Red Bull. Nuto just absolutely built different here.
There was 2 big gainers. Nutomatic up 8 and then Dubzy up 5. And you could count maybe Sci-Fi up 4.
Yeah.
But if I was him, and even you mentioned it, pit. The softs are the worst tyre on this track unless there's like 2 laps to go.
I'm trying to think of it.
Fresh.
Oh, Coldzilla's in. Whoa, that's an interesting one. A very interesting strategy. I don't know what he's thinking. Does he have damage? No, he's trying the hards, which I must say, not really a great strategy. Don't know why he's doing that.
He's just lost himself track position to Ty and Scones, who have pitted, and Vintage. Oh, has he? No.
I think he's just out ahead of Vintage, but he's lost track position to the entire grid, basically. And the hards will struggle to the end. The drivers who do medium hard will be quicker. Like, definitely. So I don't know what Coldzilla's thinking. Also, Coldzilla's got to realize that he'll get held up in the pack that are battling here. And the top 10 will gap, you know, like that bottom 10 eventually. And he'll be included in that train that gets lost. So I do not really know what the thinking is there for COD. Although a lot of times I've questioned CODzilla's strategies and somehow he comes out with a miracle. So we'll have to see. Meanwhile, Womax is trying to overtake the safety car. And if he gets himself disqualified, then he can only blame himself, really. And thank you in the chat for the 1-bit Sampa. We now can afford a Ferrari each in the staff. We can all afford Ferraris now. That's all we were missing.
At least it's an Aston Martin 1-2. Safety car first, Aston Martin second.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but it says it's gone green flag. I don't even know if it said the safety car in this lap message, but...
it is in this lap.
The safety car will be in this lap. As Rio has stated, CODzilla will keep an eye out on his progress, but I don't think it was the right strategy to do. Anywho, we'll see how Womax gets us restarted here, and we'll see... Can Kevin keep up with Womax? Womax who set pole here in Kota. Can Womax get a good restart here? Oh, he's had to slow down because the safety car wasn't in yet. I think he's now trying to drop it out of the final corner. And he has planted the throttle out of the final corner now with Kevin leading in behind, as there's been a couple of swap positions in the back and maybe a couple illegal overtakes. It seemed like they were overtaking before the line potentially. Meanwhile, there's damage for the Mercedes. What happened there? F1 Lime and Sci-Fi contact with the Mercedes. What was that? As F1 Lime now, I think he's picked up damage. Both the Mercedes with damage now. And coming together reminiscent of Spain all those years ago with the Mercedes. Now they're dropping like flies down the order and they've just sabotaged themselves.
What you said for says guys already happened. Top 9 have already ditched 10th and below.
Yeah, Dubsy on the wrong tires. Meanwhile, Kevin into the lead of the race ahead of Womax. As the top 9, all of those mediums trying to disappear from the gap behind. Meanwhile, Nudomatic may be outside of DRS already. Of Cthulhu trying to stay with him as Christian dives it on Michael Louis. What a dive that was. Michael Louis didn't even see it coming. Had to get on the brakes to avoid Christian diving on the inside there. Beautiful move from the Ferrari driver. But as it stands, I'm sure a lot of Tier 2 are getting a little bit anxious. They can see Kevin in the lead again. The championship leader. Meanwhile, Christian has lost DRS and Michael Louis already straight ahead as the lanky one looking on the inside of Christian as well. Addiction here involved in the battle, but Michael Louis now needs to use the pace that he has to try and catch Womax and Kevin. Otherwise, the race win will come down to those two drivers. Does Michael have the pace to catch the very quick front two who were P1 and 2 in qualifying? Meanwhile, Christian, the debutant, with a very good start here. P4 he sits, reserving for Ferrari today. But forward journey now. Has got past Nudomatic, but he's lost out to that lead pack. He's going to try and have to use his pace to get back inside the DRS. Meanwhile, Kevin into the rear of Womax as Womax has gotten through into the lead. Can Michael Louis catch this front two is the question. As the lanky one trying to get through on Christian. And unable to. But no real gaps starting to form between that lead pack and P3 as it stands. It's still staying relatively at 1.2 seconds, but as time progresses, surely the leaders are going to build a gap. As long as Michael Louis doesn't have DRS, he's got to do something to try and get that DRS back. As the gap now is at 1.5. As the lanky one trying to pressure Christian here into turn 1. as Arn gets ahead of Dubsy as well. We've got Ty Clear ahead of Stephen Beecham, as Stephen Beecham cuts a large amount of the track, probably just trying to avoid Ty Clear there. As Godzilla now up to P14. Has made some inroads here.
Michael Lee's breaking DRS. Michael Lee's breaking the DRS from Christian. And Christian has got a little battery compared to the lanky one, so this should be a slam dunk pass for the kick sour. Down the long back straight, you can see that light flashing. So this could invite addiction, maybe using some more battery to maybe make a lunge down the inside towards the next on the inside. The Alpine.
Oh, contact between the Alpine and Ferrari. And that's allowed Cthulhu through as well. Oh, and it's addiction on the inside of it. Cthulhu as well, trying to send it back through again. But now the gap between Womax and Kevin is now at 2 seconds, as Michael Louis now is 2 seconds back with Christian picking up his first time penalty of the day, along with Cthulhu as well. As there's a yellow flag out now for Cree down in the final sector, as Christian now. And Addiction now putting the pressure on Cthulhu now into turn 1. Addiction now on the inside, side by side they go. Cthulhu just about defending that position, but Christian now seems to be really struggling here on lap 7, losing loads amount of time to the cars ahead. Seems to be very low on battery as it stands. Oh, and Cthulhu's round! Cthulhu in the wall! I think Cthulhu got rear-ended there by Addiction. And the whole right side of that front wing has sheared off. And Cthulhu now down to P8 and will have to pit most likely. Meanwhile, Womax and Kevin in the lead of the race. Swap positions yet again. As the lanky one going to swap with Michael Louis. As Forward Journey now back into the battle now with Christian and Addiction here. Arn gets ahead of Cthulhu, who is going to have to box this lap most likely. Oh, and Pneumatic also breaks his front wing on the rear of Cthulhu. Dubsy now on the rear of Pneumatic. But Ty Clear also involved in this battle. And I don't know if the McLaren and the Ferrari know that both drivers ahead have damage. Ty Clear now round the outside. Good move there. Pneumatic dives it through. And into the pit lane will come Pneumatic. Dubsy now getting off those soft tyres. If Dub now goes hards to the end, it could still end up being a good strategy. Meanwhile, Christian dives it on the inside. Contact with Addiction. As Forward Journey now round the outside of Addiction. Oh, and Christian really struggling through Sector 1, through the S's of the rear on that Ferrari. Oh, as Addiction runs into the rear of Forward Journey as well. A really scrappy start to this race here. And Addiction now may look to send it on the inside of Forward Journey into the hairpin. Big send from the Alpine. Lovely send it was. Can Forward Journey though get the switchback out of the hairpin? I think he has. Lovely defensive move there from Forward Journey. Meanwhile, Michael Louis gets back ahead of the lanky one. The battle we're really watching here is Forward Journey, Addiction and Christian here. Christian tries to defend yet again. And Christian defending with everything he has as Addiction and Forward Journey trying to get through the Ferrari driver. But defending with all his might, which has opened the door now to Arn in the Haas. He's now joined the DRS of this battle for P5. Can Forward Journey now with the DRS finally get through on Christian? Christian's been formidable, trying to defend, and Forward Journey gonna wait, but Addiction now looking for a move. And Addiction, where has he ended up? He has sent it in too deep and has lost both positions as Stephen Beecham picks up a time penalty now. Meanwhile, Womax now almost out of DRS from Kevin Kell. I think Kevin Kell had to pick up a warning just to stay with the Aston Martin driver as Addiction picks up a time penalty. So Womax is having a very strong race here, starting from pole. Can Womax finally get the win that has been eluded him? Meanwhile, it's a 3-wide battle into the hairpin. Addiction and Christian come together, exiting the hairpin. And Forward Journey now looking for a way through, as there's been an absolute scrap here over P5. And Forward Journey now loses out to Christian and Addiction. Christian now round the outside of the Alpine driver. Can Forward Journey find a way through finally as Christian trying to get that car rotated, but it seems like his mediums are overheating a little bit here. Goes for the switchback on Addiction, contact with the Alpine. Somehow holding it together. As Forward Journey, I'm sure, is very frustrated here. Gets a time penalty, trying to avoid the Alpine. As Pneumatic also picks up a time penalty. Contact between the Ferrari and the Alpine. They are absolute bumper cars out there, as the rear is skidding everywhere on the Alpine and the Ferrari.
This is great racing.
And 3 wide now, potentially into turn 1. Christian forced off the track as Forward Journey gets through into turn 1, cuts the inside corner, and there's cars absolutely everywhere. And as they say, rubbing is racing, and we've seen a lot of rubbing here during this race so far. And Coldzilla, who we said his strategy's not great, he's now up to P9, so Coldzilla, forever the tire whisperer, could be telling those hordes his secrets. And Ty Clear also back up into the battle now. Christian sends it on Addiction again. Christian had picked up an additional penalty this lap, and him battling with the Alpine may lose him more time than it's gaining him, as Addiction now moves on the inside. Too much contact, and Addiction's out. Addiction in the wall. Christian's out as well. It's a safety car. That was just bound to happen. That was absolutely bound to happen. The two drivers have only themselves to blame for that safety car.
What happened? I looked away for 2 seconds.
Both Christian and Addiction. Oh, and what? How's Arn got a drive-through already?
What?
The safety car just came out and Arn has already got a drive-through. What sense does that make?
And what you were just saying, Godzilla's strategy is now ruined. He hasn't got any hard tyres and he's got 18 laps to go.
Yeah. He's got to somehow... Well, he's staying out. He would have had to do 18 laps in the mediums, which would have struggled. He's going to try and do the rest of the race on the hard tyres, which are going to struggle.
Needs to take the lead for the ideal work. He's going to get ahead of Kevin, but not the Aston Martin.
Oh, side by side in a turn 1. They're racing onto the safety car. But I think Godzilla got an illegal overtake, so Kevin and Womax stay ahead. Oh, Womax almost took over the safety car. Gotta play it easy to not overtake the safety car here. But anyway, as we are under the safety car, it gives us an opportunity to look at the results from last time out, as Michael Louis did pick up the victory in Canada ahead of Kevin Cal. And that put Michael Louis up to P2 in the championship, but Kevin Cal still has a strong lead over the rest of the pack. With 119 points to Michael Louis' 84 points, Dobo sits in P3 on 75. Meanwhile, Arn in P4 on 70. But under this safety car restart, what do you think Godzilla's got to do to try and stay where he is?
In the famous words of Fernando Alonso, defend like a lion.
Yeah, I think
he's going to have such less grip.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to do something something special.
I am surprised that the Red Bull of Nutomatic is on the softs.
Interesting. That's probably not the
Oh, Godzilla Pits.
Yeah, Coldzilla in for the mediums. He probably should have went last lap. Again, he did the same thing that he did under the safety car at the start, where he waited a lap extra, which has only hurt him, and he did it again. He's waited a lap extra under the safety car to hurt himself, basically. Which I don't understand why he's doing that.
Time I don't blame him. That makes more sense. I was expecting the Red Bull to do the same. Because there's times in the safety car where I'd go to a worse set of tyres to then pit later during the safety car to save tyre wear. Which I think Godzilla's done, because if you compare it to Steven in 10th, his tyres will probably be around 2-3% already. And that's going to become crucial for the traction compared towards the end of the race for Godzilla.
Well, although it may help, but it may help his tire life putting a lap extra, but I don't think it would help that much, to be honest. I don't feel like Coldzilla's made the right call there. If he did want to pit onto the mediums, he probably needed to do it the lap before, because now he's lost loads of positions.
I'll tell you who's going to drop like a fly. Scones. 10 lap old hard tyres. Compared to Dub Z, I don't think will be much quicker. He's on 4 lap old, and same with MF on Lime. I'll tell you the two drivers I want to see race wheel to wheel again in this race, the two Mercedes. As Addiction has... Is he still... Oh, he's DNF'd anyway.
Yeah.
Safety car's in this lap.
Safety car in this lap.
Ooh.
And it's given the opportunity for Womax, Michael Louis, Kevin Cal, the lanky one, all to box here in the top 4. And Scones is up to P5, so absolute scenes. And as Womax is going to try and get us restarted here. We'll see when he tries to drop the hammer. As he tries to go now, can Kevin follow the Aston for the remainder of the race? Michael Louis and the lanky one have been gifted another opportunity here to try and stay with that lead pair. Because earlier in the race, Kevin Cal and Womax had disappeared and left the drivers for dust. Meanwhile, Scones goes very deep into turn 1, which opens the door to Dub Z now. As Nutomatics drop down the order, Sci-Fi picks up a time penalty as he's battling with Coldzilla and the like. Coldzilla now all over the rear of Nutomatic. Oh, Nutomatic loses the rear. Oh, it's skating everywhere. Coldzilla trying to not get involved in any incidences. Nutomatic really losing the car this way and that. The softs are very much struggling here already here. Only in his third laps.
Sorry to interrupt, Kevin Cal is going for the lead of the race. Womax is defending to the inside, and Womax going to hold it on the inside line. Kevin Cal around the outside, doing very close. Kevin Cal's now got the inside line for the right for the first corner. A sector 3 radial switcheroo by Womax on the exit, and towards the outside, almost contact between the two. Maybe they'll switcheroo for the second attempt by the Aston Martin, but now we stand on the power on the exit. Kevin Cal, championship leader, is into the lead of the race, and they're already starting to pull away slightly from Michael Louis and the lanky one.
Yep, they've been battling here the whole race, and if I'm them, I would just try and not battle yet, leave her battle until later, because if they just use their pace together, they can gap the cars behind, which they already have done inside the top 4. Dub Z now is 1.7 behind, as Womax now looking on the inside of Kevin. Already on lap 14 laps to go. We're at the halfway point in the race, and the win could be anyone's. Will we see Kevin or Michael win again, or will Womax or the lanky one pick up their first win of the season? We will be staying with this battle. Meanwhile, important to note, Ty Clear on the same strategy now, P9, with all the drivers ahead of him with time penalties. So if Ty could make his way through that pack, maybe we could see him later in the race. But we need to see some good pace for Ty for that to happen, as he's battling now with Stephen Beecham. As Arn now on the rear of Scones, the Womax now takes the lead of the race. Arn going to get ahead of Scones with Forward Journey coming through on Scones as well. Scones on 12 lap old hards. Oh, and Scones is around contact with Ty Clear. And Scones is around Stephen Beecham involved as well. And multiple positions there lost as Coldzilla dives it on Cthulhu. And F1 Line loses the rear. Trying to find a way through on Scones now.
Lost. End plate has been lost for Stephen in that collision as well.
Yeah,
as Aaron is into the pits.
What is he doing?
Oh, drive-through, remember?
Oh, the drive-through, Okay. I completely forgot about the drive-through. Completely forgot about it.
So did
I was thinking, what is Arn doing? Is he alright? But, Womack still picks up a time penalty. That could ultimately cost them at the end of the race here. With Kevin, and also the lanky one picking up a time penalty as well. So, if the race stays as it is, it's between Kevin and Michael for the win here. And Michael may have lost DRS now. To Kevin ahead. He just about still has DRS on this lap as Womax and Kevin swap for positions, but Womax sends it in. Contact with the side pod of the Alpine of Kevin, which will help Michael Louis close up to this battle again, but Womax now probably getting impatient now that he knows he has his time penalty. He's got to do something to force an error out of Kevin, or otherwise he's going to try and gap Michael Louis and Kevin behind. But as it stands, Kevin would pick up his fifth or his fourth win of the season. Meanwhile, Michael Louis is looking for his third win of the season here. And Womax now sends it on the inside of Kevin. Oh, but a contact with Kevin again. Wheel to wheel into turn one as Coldzilla gets ahead of Ty Clear. And Coldzilla on the mediums. Again, he's done it. I mean, he's somehow cut his way through the field immediately again. 4 laps on those mediums and he's into P7.
For information, Kevin and Michael Louis both on 1 warning apiece. So they've exceeded track limits once, they've got 1 more to wait until they have to start being careful.
Yeah, and this is a track that is infamous for time penalties. So if you can avoid them, you'll be in good stead. But Michael Louis now on the inside of Kevin, and he had an opportunity to go for it there, but he backed out. I think he should have took it, because he would have the DRS of Womax to help him defend from Kevin behind. I think being in P2 is a very strong position to be in. But Michael Louis backs out, wants to wait for a better time to go for the move. Doesn't want to do anything too extreme as Dubsy swaps positions with Coldzilla now, as Coldzilla up to P6. Somehow, despite us thinking his strategy is completely wrong, his pace is telling us a completely different story. Coldzilla's cutting his way through the field with absolute ease as he sets the fastest lap now on these mediums. Coldzilla's on an absolute charge now. He's almost up into P5. He's almost at DRS range of Forward Journey. And once he gets past Forward Journey, the next battle is the battle for the lead.
Be interested to see if the tyres can last that long though.
Yeah.
That'll be his main issue.
Coldzilla's first got to focus on getting caught up to the pack, and once he does, then he can start protecting the tyres. But how used will those tyres be By the time he even gets caught up, we will see.
Changes lead about to happen. Down the back straight. Kevin Cow inside or outside. Which way is he going to go? He's going to go to the inside. William X squeeze him a bit to the inside line. Maybe a switchback from the Aston Martin on the exit now. Better traction for the Aston Martin, but trying to hang it around the outside. A little bit of contact from the rear tyres. Now on the exit towards the long left. Kevin Cow finally pulls ahead of the Aston Martin, and the Aston Martin's defence is coming to an end, but he'll surely be able to follow around the lap as there is 2 long DRS zones here, and it's a really wide line from the Aston Martin as we go to the penultimate corner, the final corner. Kevin Cow, new race leader. Michael Lewis behind him. He is in a championship protagonist sandwich.
Yeah, and Forward Journey picks up another time penalty, trying to catch this lead pack, and it's allowed Coldzilla now to get inside DRS, so Coldzilla now has one more driver to dispatch of before he can think about catching that lead pack, and on his current pace it is doable. We will have to keep an eye out for Coldzilla's progress, whether he can catch the lead train. If Coldzilla wins this race, I will revoke my prediction card for the remainder of the season. Although Ty Clear now on the rear of Dub Z, looking for a way through as Scollins gets through on Stephen Beecham. Ty Clear though picks up his first penalty of the day, trying to find a way through on Dub, and into the hairpin. He may send it on the McLaren driver. He does send it in, and the Ferrari driver now into P7. He may have DRS as well to help defend from the McLaren driver. He does just that. Meanwhile, Womax gets back ahead of Kevin. As there is so many battles going on, we don't know really who to watch. His Coldzilla gets through ahead of Forward Journey. He's now 3.6 off the lead. Does he have the pace to catch the lead drivers? We will see. Meanwhile, Scollins locks up, goes deep, trying to battle with Stephen Beecham now, and Scollins may have to think about pitting because it's going to be tough to go an extra 10 laps on those hards. I think he may be ideally hoping for a safety car to save him at this stage, because he may end up having to do around 26 laps or so on the hard tyres, which would be an awful stint to do. But it may be his only option at this stage. As Dub Z picks up his first time penalty of the day, battling alongside Ty Clear. Ty trying to drop Dub behind him. But here we are on lap 19 of 28. We've sort of calmed down a little bit here with less than 10 laps to go since some of the early carnage.
2.9 between Lanky and Godzilla. It's just the DRS, which is the major killer in the time he's gaining. He's gaining about 3-4 tenths in sector 1 at the moment, but then losing about 2 tenths as Kevin Cow retakes the lead of the race ahead of the Aston Martin once again. Those two just swapping around now as Kevin doesn't want to get too much risk and leave himself vulnerable to championship rival Michael Louis. As we are entering, if I'm not wrong, this is the final race before the mid-season break.
Yeah, it is. And
so
go ahead.
Like I say, so Michael Louise would be wanting to gain some more points before the end of the first half of the season. It's quite a decent battle going on for P11 here between Stephen, Aaron, and Michael Scones. I hear the similar reaction as almost Fernando Alonso and Liam Lawson-esque in the sprint race and Grand Prix. These two fighting around very tightly. Look how close he is getting a 10th a bit as we enter turn 1, as Scones and Aaron going wheel to wheel again, and Aaron has actually got ahead Scones on those 17 lap old hard tyres. He's now not going to have the rest of the detection point is on the penultimate corner, and this could invite Stephen towards turn number 1. No, she's going to sit behind instead. I don't think he knows the tyre age of Scones tyres.
Yeah, I think Stephen's well aware of how much Scones is struggling ahead of him, because he's struggling to get past, but now Scones, I think, has lost the position to Stephen. I wondered, was he letting him through there? Because I think Scones could tell he was losing a lot of time. But the ultimate killer in this race for Godzilla is not only the drivers having DRS ahead with Womack getting back in the lead, but it's also Godzilla's going to try and make his tyres work before they fall off. And I think here on lap, as there's a car around of Vintage Control who's facing the wrong way. Interesting.
And reset the track.
Yeah, that's not great. Anyway, we follow Kevin Kell along with Womack. And I wonder, when will Michael Lui try and go for a gap? I wonder, is Michael just being patient and waiting for a door to open up later on in the race? We will see. Meanwhile, Scones and Stephen Beecham continue to battle over P12. But the battle over the top three still continues on. And I wonder, is Womack going to try and force an error out of the drivers behind to try and get them time penalties? Because he's got to do something different to try and build a gap if he does want to win here. So there's a yellow flag around its Vintage Control again, who seems to be struggling out of turn 1 on these 7-lap-old mediums. But I think that yellow flag is finally cleared. But with 7 laps to go, Kevin Kell on the inside now of Womack. Can he finally get ahead of the driver? He does. Godzilla now loses a position to Forward Journey, so it looks like those mediums are kind of all out of pace at this stage. They got to really hope for the drivers ahead to be battling in order for them to get caught up again. Otherwise, it seems Godzilla will have to settle for P5. But, oh, the lanky one loses the rear, holds it together, big snap of the rear from the Sauber driver. Would anyone like to get the predictions in with 6 laps to go? Who will win here? Will it be Kevin, Womack, Michael Lui, or the lanky one, or even someone else? Currently, it's looking like Kevin or Michael Lui will have another win in their repertoire again.
I'm not saying anything because I'll probably jinx them and they'll probably spin round next lap. But I'm going to go different. I'll say Michael Louise.
Yeah, well, Rio has already jinxed Ty clear this race, and we're hoping Ty can just have a comfortable finish to the end now.
As I said, Michael Louise, he had a oversteer moment out of the left.
Yeah, and hopefully we can have as least amount of carnage. We want entertainment, but not carnage in these final couple of laps, as there's another yellow flag out again for Vintage Control, who I think is now missing a part of his front wing, as Godzilla and Forward Journey swap positions yet again here. But being very respectable in the second half of this race. And everyone keeping it relatively calm, but the lanky one now all over the rear of Michael Lui, who seems to be struggling. He's now 7/10ths back. The rear sliding on those hard tyres as Cthulhu picks up a time penalty. As Kevin Kell looking on the rear of Womack. I'm sure Kevin Kell doesn't even really want to battle with Womack. He kind of just wants Womack to drive forward to try and escape the Williams behind, because Kevin, I'm pretty sure, knows the win is in the bag as long as he finishes ahead of Michael Lui. And if I'm Michael Lui, I'd be trying to put more pressure on Kevin and trying to make a move past, as F1 Live dives it on Arn, and Arn with a lovely switchback. You gotta realise you cannot send it on Arn in the Haas, because he will switch back you out of your socks, and Arn does it again to another driver. Meanwhile, Kevin now with DRS looking for a move on Womack again. They swap yet again, as Michael Lui now, 8/10ths back. He's got to do something different now as there's a yellow flag around again. It's Vintage Control coming into the pit lane. Possibly to fix a front wing.
Michael's struggling. His Riz is struggling. You keep seeing micro corrections on the exit as there's another one there. Rear is either overheating or just the nature of this track. It is a rear tyre killer. I've also noticed, I've been watching the minuscule straights. I think he's running a lower downforce setup because towards the hairpin before the long back straight, Kevin Cow was reaching 196, 195 miles an hour. I believe reaching 198. So definitely a different choice in setup as the top two actually wheel to wheel. Kevin Cow riding outside of turn number 1. William X does retake the lead of the race into turn number 1. That's going to allow Michael Lewis just a little bit closer towards Kevin Cow. But if you watch for the Essence, I think might lose a bit more time. But actually, due to Kevin not having a lot of battery, he's been able to close up a lot more. And maybe Kevin may be starting to have a bit of tyre degradation. Paul Gianni with another time penalty. But on the exit, Michael Lee using a little bit more battery. I'm surprised the likes of Lanky One, Michael Louise, and Kevin haven't been able to recharge better compared to Wimex. They've been all just sat behind the DRS, and it's just basically free recharge. It's just sat in the DRS train.
I was about to say that the top two almost had gapped Michael Louis there, but because of Womack sending it on Kevin into turn 1, that slowed them both down and allowed Michael Louis back into the battle for the lead here. And Michael Louis could still win here, but he is visibly struggling in that Williams. It looks unlikely, despite him sitting in P3 and in a very good position on paper. You can see visibly he's struggling massively with that car. Meanwhile, Arn and F1 Lime swap positions yet again.
He's getting forward journey in Godzilla. They're gaining. I think Godzilla is going to jump up to P4 as it stands at the moment. If these lots continue to battle, Womax could then lose out to Godzilla. Godzilla could be on for a podium here in Kota.
Yeah, but he needs a lot of battling here, and you will see the battle come towards the end now. 4 laps to go. And the lanky one desperately trying to hold on to DRS as these top 3 are trying to disappear down the road. And I don't think the lanky one has DRS now. Here on lap 25.
Oversteer out of the left, like Michael Louis did a couple of laps ago. It was just a lazy slide, and that's disgusting. DRS, and he probably could have come into the clutches of his teammate and Godzilla now.
He's got to hope these drivers start to battle as Kevin gets into the lead yet again. But Michael Louis now is going to make something happen as Godzilla gets ahead of Forward Journey again. But Michael Louis now has no penalties, but he knows Kevin ahead, who's leading the race, has no penalties as well. So Michael's got to do something to try and win here in Kota, otherwise he'll see the championship lead extend away from him, as the lanky one now is 1.5 out of DRS. So the lanky one looking like a podium is seeming more and more unlikely for him. And on the third final lap, 26 out of 28, we've got a 3-way battle for the lead. Although it really looks like a 2-way battle for the lead between Michael Louis and Kevin Cal. Could Womax potentially, as the lanky one picks up a time penalty, which is certainly ensured that he'll probably finish at P5 at best here, with Godzilla coming on the charge. But can Womax try and manufacture some drama between Kevin and Michael Louis, which would allow Womax the ability to escape and build a gap? He's going to have to do something quickly though, Womax, if he wants to win here. Currently it's looking like a podium may be the best he can hope for, but he's got to do something different to try and force Kevin Cal and Michael Louis into some action here if he wants to win.
I'm sure Michael Lewis had listened to me. Michael Lewis now got his battery up to almost a full battery pack. I think he's only around 20% off, whilst Kevin in the low 40s off his battery pack. So Michael Lewis is doing the recharging part to challenge Kevin. Just Kevin, I think he focused this lap on recharging, just staying behind WoMax. Use that DRS so you can then get on the ERS deploy none as... I think, did Kevin have a oversteer moment out of the final corner?
No, it was Michael Lewis lost the rear out of the final corner trying to get the car rotated. And I would like to say Michael Lewis is going to try and do something, trying to go for any move he can on Kevin, but he can't even get anywhere near close enough. The traction on that Williams is just struggling so much. He can't even get remotely close to even have a go on Kevin. And here on the penultimate lap, he's got to make something happen. Otherwise, it could be another victory for Kevin here in Tier 2.
Michael Lewis has now got basically a full battery pack, 94% as he exited the corner.
Oh, and he loses the rear again, trying to get the traction. Yeah. But he's got to try and get past WoMax or something. He's got to make sure that he's not the driver who's behind here. He's got to try something. As WoMax is defending from Michael Lewis, still cannot find an opening, and that's been his whole race so far. He just has not been able to find an opening past WoMax and Kevin, who have been just swapping positions throughout, and Michael Lewis cannot get close enough. As Forward Journey and Coldzilla continue to swap positions, but Coldzilla probably should have P4 in the bag now. But I'm sure he wants a podium as well with WoMax. With that time penalty, it is possible, as WoMax now is 8/10ths back from Kevin as we head on to the final lap, and Michael Lewis has got to somehow follow WoMax through if there is a move being made by the Aston driver. Can Michael Lewis make it happen, or will Kevin win again here in COTA and push his championship lead even further into the mid-season break? And on board with Michael Lewis, we follow Kevin leading the race now. And Kevin will not be upset by WoMax getting back through again. He's more worried about the Williams of Michael Lewis, who needs to get a monster exit out of here. Been struggling to get a good exit. He's finally got a good exit, but how good is it? He's got to give absolutely everything now to charge after the Alpine, as the Alpine goes defensive to the inside. WoMax now goes defensive to the outside. Will Michael Lewis look to set it? Michael Lewis now round the outside. He's going to look for the switchback. Can Michael find a way through on the Alpine? He's got to go for something if he wants to win here. Kevin defending masterfully, though Michael Lewis still cannot get an opening. He's lost the rear, and potentially the win of the race if he cannot find a good exit. And I think Kevin's held on. The rear of that Williams is just too cooked, and the Alpine of Kevin Kell has raced masterfully again. And WoMax, who did start from pole, will finally get a podium in here in Tier 2. But it'll be Kevin Kell here who will win again in COTA. Kevin, the championship leader, extends his championship lead over the rest of the field yet again. Meanwhile, Coldzilla, despite his questionable strategy calls, gets up into P4. A mega job from Coldzilla as Ty Clear moves up to P6. Next across the line it'll be Dub Z, then Cthulhu. And Cthulhu had a lot of time penalties there, so maybe Arn, despite being so far back, he may find a way into P9, and he does just that. But what a race, Rio.
Indeed it was. Michael Lewis finally challenged Kevin in this race, but just unfortunately he was too far back. I was really expecting the lunge into the first corner of Sector 3, but hey, I think it would have been a penalty for Michael. I don't think Kevin had any intention to leave him room. But unfortunate for Michael, but Kevin just showing why he is the championship leader. Extending his advantage ahead of the rest and just showing composure, defending when he needed to. Only thing that needs working is recharging that battery pack. There's a
I don't even think his battery management was that bad. I would think it was more at the end there. He needed to go for a lunge of some sort. He needed to lunge, Kevin. Like, whenever you're at the end of the race, you need to take some risks. Although Michael Louis, I'm pretty sure he's thinking more about the future in the championship. If he had got a time penalty there by causing an incident, he would have finished even further down the order. So maybe just being cautious in that regard. But Kevin will win again here in Tier 2, extending his championship margin. 4 wins for the Alpine driver this season, and Kevin could be on for a championship here in Tier 2. Can anyone stop this man? Michael Louis finishes P2, maybe the closest in the championship to stop him. But here, as we head into the mid-season break, Kevin has got a demanding lead over the rest of the field. Meanwhile, Womax, who did start from pole, does pick up his first podium of the season, so good result for Womax. Meanwhile, Codzilla gets the fastest lap and P4. Good multiple recovery drive there from Codzilla. He kept pitting too late under the safety cars and gave himself so much to do, and he ended up doing so much in getting back into the battles. So what a drive it is from Codzilla, but outside the podium he finishes. But anyway, Rio, we're going to move to Race Party 1 and see if anyone wants to do some driver interviews.
Alright, I'll ping the top 3 now.
Yep. But as we wait for the drivers to come in for the interviews, we'll have a look at the standings. And these are the standings before Kota, where Kevin Cal led 119 points to Michael Louis' 84 points. So Kevin now extends his championship lead over the rest of the field. Can anyone stop him with 6 rounds remaining left in the season, as we're going to now go on our mid-season break for Tier 2. But also, if you haven't followed in the chat, make sure to do. We will have the mid-season finale in Tier 1 next time out, as we head to Spa in Belgium for round 6. But I think we're going to start the interviews with Addiction. Addiction, how'd your race go there?
Hello there. My race was pretty good, pretty decent for the start. I had a decent start before the safety car. I went up from P10 to P7 in turn 1. It could have very a good race, but I had a long battle on the way with the Ferrari and the Kicksauber. It was a tough and fair fight, but the Ferrari had very dangerous behavior, and I tried to stay focused and let them fight and stay behind, but they did a mistake, so I could pick up time on them. And on the back straight with the GRS, we come into contact, pushed me to the wall, and ended up my race there.
Yeah, we were on board with that battle. We'll have to see what the stewards say after the race following that incident. But nevertheless, it was good battling before that incident. Unfortunate that incident happened. We'll have to see what the stewards say. And I'm sure we'll find out as the week progresses what the outcome is. But anyway, we'll move now on to F1 Lime. F1 Lime, how'd your race go?
The start was good. I stayed where I was, which was my plan. And then the safety car came out, which was fine by me. And then on the restart, I think I had a glitch where my teammate or the other Mercedes in front of me backed off, and I went into the back of him, and that just destroyed my front wing, so I had to pit. Then kind of screwed up my race. But then I kind of recovered back up to P10, then lost it. but I'm happy with that. That was a good result, good debut, and just on to Spa afterwards. I mean, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it was a good race from yourself. Hopefully see more of that again as we return in 2 weeks. But we'll now move on to Michael Louis. Michael Louis finished P2 in that race. The win seemed on, it seemed possible, but in the end, Kevin would finish ahead. So, Michael, how did that race go for you?
Yeah, it was very tense for a lot of the race. In qualifying, I kind of realised I didn't quite have the pace of Kevin or Max. So I just wanted to try and keep out of trouble, really. In those first few laps, obviously the first lap, safety car was not ideal. My teammate got involved in that, unfortunately. And then after the safety car, I got dive bombed by a Ferrari, which really didn't help my trying to keep with the leaders. So I managed to get back past the Ferrari and just sort of, I thought, right, I'm going to be P3 and just hope that Kevin gets a P2 or whatever happens. But luckily, with another safety car, I was able to keep up with them. I could tell that I wasn't quite fast enough to overtake them. I was fast enough to stay with them, but I just, it was so frustrating just sitting there. And I thought about a few moves, but obviously at the same time, X was overtaking or Kevin was overtaking, and I didn't want to get involved in that because anything could have happened. They did bang wheels and side pods a few times, so I was trying to keep it clean just to get to the end. And on that last lap, it was close, but at the end of the day, P2's good, but Kevin is running away with it. But he's doing really well. He's such a clean driver. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it was a great win from Kevin. Michael did try and put pressure on him, and me and Ray were both saying in the commentary box that you just need to send it. You just need to go for something. We were trying to see.
I add something?
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you mentioned how it was frustrating. Did you ever, on the last lap, into entering sector 3, did you think, I might just send it and just, if guys contact is contact, but just send it to try and reignite this championship challenge? It's definitely still in it, but it's definitely going to be harder now that you're I think the gap will be like 40 points now after results are out.
Yeah, my aim was to go for a dive bomb at some point. Unfortunately, I kind of left it a bit too late, and I was umming and ahhing about going inside or outside, and I was right behind Kevin, and I decided to go outside, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. It was, I should have just tried a move earlier on, but, I was more happy that I was able to stick within DRS because I was really worried I wasn't going to be fast enough.
I did also want to say, your rears must have been either overheating or the percentage was really high because you had a lot of oversteer on the main traction zones. I think that was partially what had costed you the chance to have a better attack into sector 3, etc.
Yeah, it was really weird. When the tyres were new, I didn't have a problem, but it was when they started to get worn, I was really starting to feel the oversteer and really starting to feel the rears go. So yeah, I think any opportunistic moments I could have done, I should have done them earlier because the tyres were just not ready. They were holding on for dear life by the end. My final sector, I was drifting, but I made it, and I'm happy with P2. It's so much fun.
Yeah, well, congratulations on second, and I hope to see you up on the podium, and I hope not to jinx you anymore.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great fun. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and great result there, Michael. And another driver who was in the podium, who started from pole, had a great race, but unfortunately a time penalty would ultimately cost him. Max, how did that race go for you?
Unfortunately, I ended up with that time penalty, so it kind of set in a little early that I wasn't going to be able to come away with the win. I kind of realized that, but I think once I got that and I realized that, it was really just trying to focus on making the gap big enough to the pack that I could maybe sneak in a podium and get away with a couple points. So it wasn't a bad race, but the penalties just keep chasing me. So trying to stop doing that.
Yeah, well, at Kota, honestly, it is one of the toughest tracks for penalties. So the fact that you only got one is not that bad. Kota is a definite track where I struggle myself at for time penalties. It is really shocking, but getting a pole position, how'd that feel?
Oh, it was a nice feeling for sure. I was definitely nervous before we were doing qualifying, and because I knew I had pretty decent pace here. I just ran a couple of other races in a couple other leagues at Coda, and the penalties got me there as well. So I was really looking forward to trying to not get penalties, but the pole position felt really good. I really thought that Kevin was gonna get me there at the end, but he didn't. So it felt nice. It felt really nice to have that, actually.
Yeah, and despite all your unlucky races so far, you finally had the luck swing your way at least to get yourself on the podium.
Little bit.
Yeah, finally get a good result, and hopefully next time when we return from our break, you do get a much better result, maybe even a win in the last 6 races. There's Yas Marina, Austria, Azerbaijan, Belgium, Qatar, and then Brazil to finish out the season. Is any of those your favourites?
All of them. I like them all. So I'm excited for the end of the season. I've honestly, this is kind of, the start of my league racing. I've been kind of getting the swing of things. My first time kind of doing this. So I'm definitely getting the hang of it and getting in the groove of things. So I think the second half of the season is going to be something to look forward to for sure.
Yeah, and we're definitely hoping to see more from you. But brilliant race and brilliant podium.
Thank you, my boy. I appreciate it. And good job to all the other drivers as well. I just want to say that real quick.
All right, appreciate that. And we'll move on to Christian as well. Christian, how'd your race go if you're there?
Yo, yeah, it went alright to be fair. Just a couple minor incidents, that's all. And then the DNF didn't really help, but yeah.
Well, what happened between you and Addiction there?
So, like, we were in the hairpin. I was, like the hairpin area, I was ahead. He was nowhere near. And then when he flicked his DRS on, I heard, like, I could feel him, like, coming up, and I saw him.
Mm-hmm.
I moved over to the left-hand side, so it would, like, he would have to back out and go around. But he didn't, and it involved him slightly going off track, turn right, clip me. I tried to save it, and I just went flying into a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got DNF'd, so just racing at the end of the day.
Yeah, on very unfortunate incident. We'll have to see what the stewards say after the race, but nonetheless, we're hoping to see you back whenever we do return next time out to Abu Dhabi in round 7. But
Abu Dhabi, yeah, I'll give that a shot then.
Mm-hmm. But thank you all for who raced. We got a full grid yet again here in Tier 2, so lovely to see. And I hope you all enjoy your 2-week break. Personally, I'm going to Spain to get a tan on, so
enjoy.
I will enjoy my my 2-week break with my feet up, and then
we're going on the bender.
we'll have to see. But I hope you all enjoy your 2-week break as well. But for Tier 1, there is no 2-week break yet. There still is one more race to go. Tomorrow in Spa, you'll be joined by Scones and Addiction, as Scones has joined the race party chat.
Scones!
What timing? Say his name and he appears. I believe in Scones. Our Lord and Saviour. Scones, how'd your race go?
Not ideal. I tried to stick it out on the hards. Probably not the best move, but at least it wasn't a repeat of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of that long straight, I did get bumped by somebody and lost 4 positions, which, not ideal. But other than that, I felt like it was an okay race. Obviously, that incident on turn 1, I got a bit of wing damage on that. Not ideal. But luckily, it was a safety car, so I didn't miss out on too much doing that. yeah, got some work to do on the setup for sure. It does not like hard tires, which was most of my race, unfortunately. Overall, P13 though, that's points. That was my goal, was qualify P15 or better, and finish the race so I didn't repeat Canada. So,
well, the race went a hell of a lot better than Canada did, because I don't think there was anything really you could do in Canada to avoid the incident that you were caught up in. But thankfully, you've been able to have a comfortable race, and hopefully, here's to better results next time out as we return to Abu Dhabi. Is that one of your stronger tracks, or do you know if you have any strong tracks?
I actually want to say Mexico is probably one of my stronger tracks. I struggle with Spain. I don't really think I'm good at any because I'm still learning, unfortunately. So, gonna put some time in on the break. Hopefully, hone my skills a little bit better and keep staying in the points.
Yeah, we're looking forward to when we come back from the break and Scones ends up winning the championship from winning every race.
There's no shot of that happening. Kevin Cal is just too quick. I mean, honestly, the guy is a beast.
We need a video of Arrow saying, I think I've already forgot what Arrow said, but Arrow saying, and here's to hopefully some good race. You need him in Spain with a beer in his hand saying, here's to that.
Oh.
But anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed the stream and the interviews as well. We will return next time out where we head to Spa for the Tier 1 Round 6 before we have our 2-week mid-season break in both tiers. And you'll see Scones and Addiction in the commentary booth over there, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But anyway, we'll find someone to raid now on our way out. Let's see who is live. We will raid...
Could we raid ourselves?
I don't think that's how it works. We will raid...
Iraqi.
We're raiding BR Bulls.
Oh.
Who are also in Kota. What timing? Amazing.
Keep it going.
But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow. We'll be back tomorrow for Tier 1 before we go on our mid-season break. But I've been WHFRO, joined by Rio Harris. And thank you all for watching, and goodbye.
Adios.
I suppose.